Hey everybody, Peter Soros here with realestateskills.com. Today I've got a great story to share with you. Landon just did his first wholesale deal, which ended up being a virtual wholesale deal. He lives in South Carolina, but virtually wholesaled a property in North Carolina, and this deal ended up becoming a $20,000 wholesale fee for him. It's a great story. I can't wait to share this with you, so let's dive right into it. Hey Landon, welcome. Glad to have you here. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm doing great, sir. Thanks for asking. So, first wholesale deal. This is great. I knew this would come. You were showing up to the calls, you were posting a lot, getting deal reviews done. I knew it was going to be a matter of time seeing your work ethic and all that. So, before we dive into the deal itself, I want to learn a little bit more about you, where you came from. Like, did you have a real estate background? Do you have a sales background? Also, the deal was in North Carolina, but I am understanding you don't live in North Carolina. So let's start from the beginning a little bit about you, about Landon. What, where were you coming from? What industry, and what led you to real estate skills and real estate in general?
Yeah. So I've been in multiple different industries. I've been in tons of sales roles. I've been in solar, insurance, roofing. I was even a sales manager for a small startup marketing company.
Mhm.
I kind of, like every entrepreneur, you catch that shiny object syndrome where like gurus on YouTube will say, you can make this much money so
Mhm.
quickly. And then, when you do that business, you realize how hard it really is, especially when you don't have the passion for it. I started a drop shipping business, Amazon FBA business, there's digital marketing agencies, the SaaS stuff,
Mhm.
all that fun jazz. And they all failed miserably. um, Primarily because I gave up because I wasn't really passionate about it. The whole
Mhm.
end goal was those for me starting this business was to get enough money for real estate,
Mhm.
to buy rentals and fix and flips. That was the whole purpose. And then I realized I heard it on Instagram, like, wait, I could do real estate wholesaling. That makes a lot more sense, and I don't have to really invest as much money into it. So that's kind of where background lies. None of it led with real estate, just the most randomest industries.
Gotcha, gotcha. So not Facebook, I'm sorry, Amazon,
Yeah,
fulfillment, drop shipping, insurance,
yeah.
solar,
Mhm.
roofing, did your own businesses, and it was all for real estate to begin with. So why not just go into real estate? So you just didn't know that wholesaling was a thing until you came across something on Instagram, you said?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know you could wholesale real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw it, I was like, I could do that the entire time. I don't need to get a license. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to spend months studying it. I can just do it, and
Yeah.
it excite me. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So, what led you to real estate skills? I'm sure you looked at all the other different
Mm,
educations and schools and mentors. What
yeah.
made you decide to come to us and get your training with us?
Yeah, so I was searching on YouTube, like how to wholesale or wholesaling for beginners, all sorts of stuff. And then Alex Martinez popped up, and I was like, all right, this seems pretty interesting. And then he got talking into the Blue Sea and then the Red Sea.
Hmm.
And to me, the Blue Sea thing makes a lot more sense because all investors are always looking for off-market deals. They're crazy about them. And I could just imagine somebody, who's going through a foreclosure getting called by thousands of investors or wholesaler,
Hmm.
and then I called them. I'm like, what's kind of special about me? They're already mad. They're going through a whole thing, and
Yeah.
and whereas the on market deals, it feels like it's more right for the taking, um, and you can have better negotiations with a little bit more professionals, know what they're talking about. So it just kind of feels a little bit better talking to them. But I even ran when I first looked at Alex Martinez. I even ran his the real estate skills through ChatGPT. It's like, is this a viable course? Like, can this teach me? Because I've been in multiple courses where they kind of scam me. I was like, I'm gonna vet these guys out this time. So everything popped up good. I
That's
was like, all right, I'm gonna go with these guys.
that's pretty cool to hear that you ran it through the Chat GPT, and
Yeah,
we got the blessing from the AI robot.
yeah, yeah. So yep, go for it.
That's awesome. That's cool to hear. Um, so you are in. South Carolina is what you told me, but you did a deal in North Carolina. Tell me a little bit of why that is that way.
Yeah, so I always wanted to move to North Carolina
Mhm.
because, like, particularly Charlotte, because it kind of gives like a New York City vibe without paying New York City prices.
Yeah.
A very small New York City. And I heard, while searching up, I think North Carolina is like the fourth or the fifth best real estate market in the country so far. I was like, all right, that's awesome, and I'm right next to them practically. And also South Carolina, after with the laws that they passed to make it significantly harder, more hoops to
Mhm.
jump to do wholesaling here. So I was like, might as well just do it super simple down there.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. North Carolina is constantly on like usually like the top five, top 10 lists. I keep seeing different sources, but they're always in those top markets that of growing. Lots of people
Hmm.
moving out to those places. A lot of people went to
Yeah,
Florida. Hurricanes hit. They're like, yeah, let's go a little bit further north, and that's kind of
yeah,
what's been happening a lot of. And then as
yeah.
for South Carolina, yeah, they had that new legislation about wholesaling. Definitely, throw a whole wrench in that whole state's wholesaling process. But we do have some partners. We have a partner who's a real estate attorney out in South Carolina, also a buyer. So, we have some resources for you. I can connect you with after the call, just to see if there's some
Oh,
stuff
that's
you can
cool.
do. Yeah, do some deals maybe in your own backyard in the meantime before you move to your little New York City in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So one question I always like to ask students is, how much money did it cost you to get this deal? Because people are always saying, oh, you should just do off market. Well, they never tell you how much it costs usually to get off market deals.
Yeah.
And I know you did get this was an off market deal, but how you got it was from your on market research, right? Tell me about that.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So I spent $0. I spent a lot of time though. I was
Right.
cold calling. I was cold calling agents on some properties. This one particular agent that I called, he's a young guy. His name's Chandler. He's a killer. Let me tell you, he's constantly hustling and looking to help other investors. And after that initial call, I didn't get that property that I was trying to get from that initial call.
Hmm.
But it led to a great connection, which he constantly sent me deals. We constantly try to work on getting deals together. And then eventually, about 40 days ago, that's when he sent me this off market deal because it was a friend of a friend. And since I've been working closely with him, I'm constantly talking to him. He's like, "You're the first investor I want to send it to." And then, you know, here I am. I got the wholesale deal, and it feels phenomenal.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive into the numbers a little bit. So, what kind of a property was it? Whatever you can remember, detail wise, square footage, bed and bath count, if you remember those things. But then we really want to dive into the numbers. So, start us off with what kind of a property, what you had analyzed, what did you think the ARV was, how close was it to what your cash buyer ended up coming up with, repairs, and what you actually got under contract for. So give it to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I believe it's like a two bed, two bath property. It's a really nice neighborhood. I think
Mhm.
it's in Wilson, North Carolina.
Okay.
For what I was told from other investors, it's more of a rental area more than a fix and flip area. But the property itself, I don't know the exact square footage, but the whole story was the lady, she was in the middle of renovating the property. Her husband died, her back gave out, so she just had to sell it. She couldn't finish the renovations. The inside was horrible.
Mhm.
Everything was, the walls was taken down. It was bad. I initially thought it was going to be $100,000 of repairs. I'm horrible at estimating repair costs, but I was like, let me actually get some contractors to give me some quotes on here. So I got like three quotes. It's
Mm.
around $40,000-$50,000 for the repair. So I was like, oh, okay. I think originally she wanted 150,000. I said the best we could do is 100. I was able to lock it up at 100. Um, and then a problem hit. None of my investors, none of my cash buyers, none of them wanted the property.
Mm.
So I kind of freaked out for a bit
All
because
right.
they're like, "Oh my god, I had that on a contract. What happens if I can't sell it?" I was like, "Let's not give up now." I put it into a few Facebook groups. I was able to get a few investors interested. One investor was willing to pay close to full price. I was trying to wholesale it for 120. I ended up wholesaling for 118. now in the mix of all that, she was definitely not the best investor I had to work with. It was definitely an experience. She had me stressing. um, yeah, and I remember she got an inspection done, and her inspector told it'll need about 60 to 65,000 of repairs. I was like, ooh, that's
Mhm.
bad. So she wanted me to, take off about 15,000. I was like, no, can't do. I think the best I could give you is $2,000.
Mhm.
Obviously, she was not happy with that. She was pretty angry over the phone. But eventually, she settled with the 2,000. And what I did was I went back to the seller. I gave them the exact inspection that my investor gave me, and I said, hey, it needs a lot more work than anticipated. Could you at least give us about $2,000 to $5,000 off? She gave us $4,000 off. So we, um, you know, got the contract now under 96. We sold it to 116 to the investor, and we actually gained an additional 2K during that little negotiation. So it was actually $20,000 instead of 18.
Awesome, awesome. So
Yeah.
you made 20K, and then you just had to pay a referral fee. I remember you saying
Yeah, I paid a referral fee to the agent I worked with. It was like 1,000 or something, so I net about 19,000.
that's awesome for your first deal. Brought it together,
Yeah.
and again, like that's something that people will always say, "Hey, off-market deals are the way to go because you don't have to deal with agents," and yet
Mhm.
you went on market, found an agent, worked with them. So even though it was an off market deal, it was an on market uh, uh, via, like it was because of you went on market, you found a deal that
Mhm.
led to an off market. So, and,
Most definitely.
and that's something that a lot of people miss out on. And so I'm just the fact that you're open to looking on market and connecting with agents, keeping that relationship going, it led to one thing led to another. So that's huge. Basically, the deal was brought to you just because you showed that you're serious and that
Hmm.
you're probably someone who's going to make the deal happen. So hey, they gave you a shot and you came through with it. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Even when your cash buyers were like, "Yeah, not interested." You didn't take no for
Hmm.
an answer until, like I always say, it's not over till it's over. Until that deadline
Hmm.
is over, you keep trying to do whatever you got to do. I even had a mentor tell me once, like, Peter, when you have something you need to sell, like, I know this is extreme, but I want you to think of like someone's kidnapped your kids and you're not getting them back unless you sell this this property. You
Yeah.
do everything you need to do to get this thing sold. If it meant putting
Yeah.
signs in the dirt, making more phone calls and emails, and sure enough, a lot of times that did it. That little extra mile made it work. So that's just awesome to hear that you just didn't just give up on something, because getting an off market lead like that, getting it under contract, that's huge. You don't want to let those slip
Yeah.
through your fingers at all. So great first deal for you. um, what was it that you think the training and the support you got from us at Real Estate Skills helped you out with, you know, analysis, or was it the connections that you made to learn where to look? Like, tell me a little bit about what you learned from us that helped you kind of get over some roadblocks and actually get to this point right now. Was there anything specific that you can kind of point to?
Yeah, most definitely. So I definitely leverage, typing in the group chat. Um, a lot of the questions was answered by Peter or Ryan.
Mhm,
Great guys.
mhm,
A lot of the questions I had it seems pretty small type, questions,
mhm,
like not really big type questions, but they answered it, which actually helped me. And a lot of the course material itself, when it comes to actually talking with the agents, trying to build a connection with them, I definitely lean more into that because I want to build a connection with them because I know if I do a great job building connections with them, they're going to send me more deals.
mhm,
Um, so they'll put less work on me trying to constantly hunt for them. So definitely leveraging the chat, the group chat and the school app definitely helped me out a lot when answering questions, especially with like analysis, because
mhm,
Sometimes I didn't know how to properly calculate the ARV for a minute. Like when I was analyzing a property, it took me about an hour to like to analyze it, like to do the math, and now it takes me like 5-10 minutes. It's not too difficult anymore. And definitely him walking me through it. He even made videos. Peter, he even made videos for me.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I spend all that time for you guys. I'll sit there and make those Loom videos for you guys on
Mhm.
30, 40 minutes sometimes, just to get
Yeah.
all those deal reviews done, just so we don't leave any rocks unturned. Because that's huge. I know what it's like. I was there too when I first started. Having someone there for you, kind of holding your hand throughout those when those questions pop up, it makes all the difference. So I know where you guys are coming from, and that's why we take that extra time and step to be there as much as we can for you. Um, Whether it's you're in a deal or even before, like before you even submit the offer, let us check it out, see if this even makes sense. So,
Mhm.
um, but what's important too is you took advantage of it. Some people won't even do that. They'll be too afraid to even, ask a question. You have to go out and do it. Like people want accountability partners. You still have to show up. So
Mhm.
you kept showing up, which was great. Usually when I see that, that shows that there's someone serious here who
Mhm.
is wants this to work. And then sometimes I notice too, as they go silent for a little bit, like I think what you did,
Yeah.
because you just put your head down,
Yeah.
like work, 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 and
Yeah.
that's what needs to happen too. It's like, be a sponge, take it all in, and then squeeze and wring everything out of it, and then boom,
Yeah.
something is bound to come from that. So you're just
Mhm.
one of those like perfect examples of doing the process properly to get to the results that you want, that we all know you can get. So
Mhm.
again, kudos for you. When I shared it in the office, everyone was just fired up about it to hear that you closed this deal and made that much money on your first deal. So that's huge. It's super huge.
Yeah. And and I gotta admit, there was times where when I was constantly making cold calls and putting in offers, getting rejected left and right.
Mhm.
People saying, "Oh no, you don't know what you're talking about." I even when I get on calls with agents, some of these agents are evil. Like they're mean guys. They'll yell at you, say like you're inexperienced, you're incompetent. Those crazy stuff.
Mhm.
And not gonna lie, even it brought me down. Like I was like, I'm just gonna take a day off for a minute. And then sometimes you get into your mind, it's like, will I ever succeed? Like
Mhm.
I failed in many of my other businesses. Will this be another failure when I never actually accomplish my goals in life because I'm just not
Mhm.
naturally gifted in sales or whatever? And then I was like, the whole reason why it all fails because your whole goal is real estate. If you quit at real estate, what are you gonna do? What's really going to be
Mhm.
your life purpose? I was like, Landon, you just got to stick with it. You just got to
Mhm.
be persistent. Take those hits and continue going along. And
Mhm.
it finally led me success. I was pretty hyped.
No, I'm so glad you shared that actually, because that does end up being a killer for a lot of people who try to do this. Is they get really discouraged
Mm-hmm.
when they have to deal with some of these agents. And I understand why
Mm-hmm.
cash buyers don't like to work with agents sometimes. Now I'm licensed, I do mostly
Mm-hmm.
investing, but I know what agents are like, and I'm honest all the time, you guys. Some of them hate their jobs. Some of them hate what
Yes,
they do.
yes.
You know what sales is like. Sales can be really, really tough on your soul.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh yeah.
and they sometimes of them they just need to quit, but that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
And also sometimes they do have to deal with people who are trying to scam them, or people who are just a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of tire kickers and time wasters. They
Mm-hmm.
just probably just didn't know who you were yet, and that's fine. Eventually, the
Yeah.
more experience you get, the way you talk to people, it'll just come across like easily. But
Mm-hmm.
even me as an agent, when I've talked to other agents and tried to do some investing things a little bit more creatively, oh, I've had them tell me they were going to report me to the board and sue me, and nothing
Yeah.
ever happened because I'm not doing
Wow.
anything wrong. They just don't
Yeah.
understand. They just don't understand.
No.
They don't know that part of real estate. That's not their wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. And they're missing out on a lot of money by not being
Oh
open
yeah.
to this other side of it. So, but it can be very discouraging. It can be very scary. I've had students come to me and be
Hmm.
like, they say they're going to sue me and all that. Like, they're not going to sue you.
Yeah.
You didn't do
Yeah.
anything, they're just trying to scare
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yes.
it's great that even through all of that, you still manage to just kind of pick yourself up and say, just keep going. And here you are. So you've already proven it to yourself, you know, by doing this deal. Like you did a really good deal, on your first one. So,
Yeah.
again, it's definitely a time to celebrate and then keep the momentum going. We say it all the time, momentum is real. It sounds almost woo woo sometimes, but literally
Yeah.
after I did my first deal, the very next month I did my next one, and then the next month, and then it can be a very consistent thing. Once you've built that machine, just keep those gears moving. Things should keep moving that way, and real estate's a roller coaster. You got to start getting
Oh
prepared
yeah.
for that. But you got to start somewhere, and you've built this machine now that's working. So now it's a matter of just managing it, and that leads
Hmm.
me to my next question. What's the future hold for Landon right now? I'm sure you're going to keep working on wholesaling, but what else are you trying to work on in real estate now that you've gotten this taste of success and you can see like the
Yeah.
evolutionary path you can go on? What are your plans moving forward now?
Yeah. So, like right now, as we speak, I may actually get another deal that could probably net me another 20,000.
Oh,
It's another on
nice.
market deal that the agent sent me, and I think we're about to get it. Definitely, I want to get at least four more wholesale deals before I want to do it full time. I'm still currently employed full time, so I'm doing this part time, and I want to be able to do it full time to be able to just go full throttle because I know I can make significantly more
Mhm.
money as I do it full time. And definitely when I get down in North Carolina, some of the investors that I speak with on a daily basis, I definitely recommend everybody to constantly build great connection with your investors because they could teach you a lot of stuff, especially in the market that you're in. They'll teach you a lot more on the repair costs. They'll even give you pointers when negotiating. They could be really helpful resource too. Um, and I'm going to be doing a few fix and flips down there with them. I kind of want to do that as well. Have a mixture of fix and flips and wholesale, and then use the profits from them to start building up a rental portfolio. And hopefully by the time I'm age about 31, 32, I want to have about $3 to $5 million worth of rental property,
Mhm.
and have probably about 20 or so employees. I want to hire an acquisitions team. And like I'm thinking really big to scale this as fast as I can. And definitely I got to get four more wholesale deals before I'm able to quit my job and do it full time.
Awesome. Awesome. Great goals to have. Keep up the momentum, and it's definitely feasible. It's definitely possible. And you did this while you were working full time. I even forgot to ask you, like, if you were working full
Yep.
time at your other job, and you are. So,
Yep.
this is the kind of stuff that I'm sure if you tell the other people you work with, their jaw's going to drop, probably, right? Well,
Oh
with
yeah, no, I told them the very first time I got out of contract. I was already too excited when I got it under contract before we even closed. Like, you guess what? I just made it without even closing it. But when it closed, they was really hyped every time I walked by. I was like, "Here, money man coming!" It was pretty cool. They seem pretty supportive.
Yeah, you'll start to see that quickly. As long as you keep up this consistency and momentum, you're going to be an expert in people's eyes really quickly, and they're going to start coming to you for advice. So just be prepared for it.
I'm definitely prepared.
Awesome. Well, Landon, this was great to finally see you make this first deal. We're all excited for you here, and I'm sure the rest of the community can't wait to hear the rest of this story. So we'll be sharing it with them and the world. It's a great story. We love seeing people who put in the work, who invest in themselves, and really just stick to it, show some grit, and then success was there for you to pick it when it was time. So it's um, it's always an inspiring story. It motivates a lot of people. And is there any other kind of advice you'd like to leave people, anyone who watches this, that you'd like to leave with them?
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely don't give up. Definitely, have persistence. Keep going because you never know, the next phone call could be the phone call that leads to a wholesale deal. It's
Mhm.
definitely a numbers game. For what I learned in real estate, it's definitely a numbers game. You just got to keep making calls.
Mhm. Well, we'll probably be talking again soon, huh? Because you got another deal in the pipeline. So
Yep, most definitely.
awesome. Awesome. Well, Landon, we'll talk again soon. Have a great night. And again, congratulations on your first win. Celebrate it, enjoy it, and then keep going after it, man. You've got what it takes. You've proven that already. So great job, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for all your help.
And there you have it. What a great testimony we just got from Landon. As you can see, he had to make that decision from the very beginning to actually invest in himself and go after what he wanted. You heard that he was getting, distracted with doing, Amazon drop shipping, insurance sales, solar sales, roofing sales, all of this. And he really just wanted to do real estate in the first place. He didn't know that he could actually create an income being an investor doing wholesaling until he found something online, did his research, found us at Real Estate Skills, even put us in Chat GPT to see if we were legit or not. And he made that choice and he made that investment in himself. And like he said, it wasn't just easy. He had a lot of ups and downs. He had agents, telling him all sorts of things that, you're just too new, you don't know what you're doing. But he stuck with it. A lot of other people would have just broken at that and just given up. But like he said, you have to be determined. You have to keep going. You have to be willing to take that risk and just keep moving forward towards your goals. I mean, if these are your dreams and that's going to get you to where you want to be, then why would you let anything get in the way of it? Why would you waste your time with anything else if this is what you want to do? And if this is what you want to do and you want to learn more about the real estate skills community, go to realestateskills.com, give us an email, and we'll get in touch with you. All right? Till next time, take care, everybody.